And we are grateful to our citizens for coming out to show that they care.
Thank you. My name is Justice Lee Adeboy. I work for the Shanghai News Agency of China. I would like to ask the World Economic Forum on Africa, what roadmap do you see for Africa's economic integration? Because when you look at all the challenges that are enumerated about African economies, they look very familiar. So do you also have one similar or maybe a bit similar, propositions that Africa can work on to attain integration? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Olajuka from Vision FM Radio. Please, I have two questions to ask, specifically to the Minister of Finance. I got feelings from Abuja residents that they are not really happy when the collapse of activities because of this trade thing. The excuse given to them by the government, they think is not genuine enough, one. Because if you look at it at the long run, the economic activities will be shut down. And at what commensurate measure is it going to be on the economy in FCT? Then secondly, what is the projection if all this, because we've always been hearing forums coming for this and that, they are projecting on this, at the end of the day, it doesn't amount to anything on the table. What projection actually are we expecting from this? As in terms of what the impact on the economy this time around, and what measures are you going to do to make it different from the different ones that we've been having before? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raliat Adenekon from Classic FM 97.3. My question is, what's your plan to Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to assist the indigenous investors? You've been speaking about foreign direct investment in the country. Considering the unfavorable infrastructure and insecurity in Nigeria, what do you have? What are your plans for the Nigerian investors? Then secondly, is there any session in place for the World Economic Forum to address female entrepreneurs, as in women entrepreneurs, how to assist them? Thank you.
So, with respect to the first question on Africa's economic integration, first of all, as I said at the outset, the World Economic Forum is a gathering of communities of leaders. And what we support is their ambitions. And within this community of leaders, there exists an institutional framework for Africa's economic integration under the auspices of the African Union. The challenge is that many people, both from the business community as well as citizens, do not feel that the plans that have been made relate to them directly. And so through the forum, and we actually have sessions dedicated to how to make trade, continental free trade, a reality. We have discussions around the difficulty of getting visas just to travel across Africa, and pushing for commitment from our leaders to make that a reality. It should be easier for an African to visit a fellow African's country, rather than it being easier for a foreigner to visit many of our African countries. So these are some of the inconsistencies in the practice of the protocols and the commitments that have been made at the political leadership with respect to economic integration, that we're trying to work together to say, well, there's some aspects that need to be fixed for it to be a reality for everyone. I would like to say just one thing with respect to indigenous investors, if you'll allow me. From our business community, the majority are Nigerian. as well who will be participating. So there'll be an active part of the participants during this meeting. Directly with respect to the session on female entrepreneurship, for the first time this year, we will have two very focused discussions. One on establishing a gender parity task force. Some of you may be aware that every year the forum produces a global gender gap report, and we are working to establish now a formal task force that can push to close the gaps that are existing in different respects, be it in education, be it economically. We will also have a session which is just pulling together our different communities, meaning not just focused on women participants, but really all our participants, to see how we can make faster progress on women's economic empowerment. And in this, we're also collaborating with the African Union, which launched a new initiative last year, again, through public-private cooperation, trying to make faster progress.
Well, thank you very much. You know, last night when the president spoke, he basically thanked Nigerians for their patience and support, particularly Abuja residents, because they have been asked to give a chance to stay home so that this could take place, this conference. I think, you know, government, you know, regrets any inconvenience to citizens of the FCT, and is, you know, asking for their understanding and support. I want to repeat that. However, I do want to say that there's a direct economic gain for the Federal Capital Territory. All the hotels in Abuja are occupied. Abuja has said it wants to be a center for conferencing and tourism. If we can pull this off and convince the international community of our capability of hosting this kind of big event, they will come back. And the president has said that for now, because we do not have a dedicated city built for this, and we have to use every facility around the city, that's why there's a little bit of inconvenience. But by the way, Nigeria is not peculiar. He mentioned to you that in a country like the Netherlands, one of the developed countries, they went there for a conference summit on the nuclear armament summit. Just a month or so, a couple of months ago, they gave a 2-day holiday in The Hague. They shut the city down for 2 days so that these heads of state could move around and the citizens would not be so inconvenienced. So it's not everywhere we go that countries are having this kind of event. To make it more manageable, they ask citizens to kindly just bear and sacrifice. Those who have a dedicated resort where they can do these things, they take it there, but we don't have one yet. But please note, there's a new hotel called the Barcelona with 300 rooms or so. It's fully occupied. So this thing is generating income for the FCT at the same time. And so I wanted to point that out. Then the issue of what is the difference that this meeting will bring, and what about indigenous investors? I think they are all linked. First of all, the Nigerian government cares as much about indigenous investors as foreign investors. In fact, it is known in economics that if your own indigenous investors are not putting in money, those from outside will not. Because when you want to invest, you first look at the environment you're investing in and say, are the people there investing? Who do I partner with when I come to this country? If they're not investing, then you yourself will not invest. So the same measures that will benefit our indigenous investors will benefit the foreign ones, and vice versa. So we are not separating. I actually talk a lot of something I call direct domestic investment. So we're interested in both FDI and DDI. And I can tell you that not so long ago at another summit, Aliko Dangote announced $9 billion of investments in petrochemicals. You know, just one set of investments alone. And I think that the various summits we've been having in the country, you know, internal to us, have generated quite a lot of interest, and so I can list you investments, and I'm sure the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment will be happy to give you the list of investments that have recently taken place, not commitments. You know, we have Procter & Gamble factory of 250 million in Ogun State that just recently opened. You know, we have the $40 million Dominion Farms investment in Taraba. That's an American company that is ongoing. We have GE. We have all the investments in the privatized power sector, which amount to $2.5 billion. So we could give you a list. And this one, we're expecting it. I've already mentioned 2 possible investments to you, and we're already expecting quite a bit more. But like the President said, everything doesn't happen immediately. Some of it, they will look, they will go back, they will interact, they will know they can have partners here who are private sector that they can work with, and they will come back to invest. Lastly, on the issue of female entrepreneurs, I just want to remind reporters here from home that the government specifically went out to try to help female entrepreneurs. You will remember that in the UWIN program, we launched a round just for female entrepreneurs. And 1,200 female entrepreneurs are benefiting from this, from the grants of $10,000 to about $90,000 equivalent that they are getting. So we care very much. We realize that girls and women and are the bedrock of our society, and that we have to pay particular attention. When we saw there were only 17% of UWIN beneficiaries, the President said we should do a special round for them, and we did. And we will continue to support them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. While we've overrun, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd like to thank my colleagues here on the panel. This conference is now over.